Hey guys, Holland Halpin here.
Hey, Chapter 12 Study Guide.
Woo! So what we're going to do, guys, I know this is probably going to be in order, the first video that you watch, but in every one of these videos, we want to start off going over the vocab. So let's just quickly go over, and again, it's located at the top of the screen. So the first word that we have is citizen, obligation, duty, law of soil, law of blood, naturalized citizen, allegiance, aliens, green card, selective service, jury summons, jury, absentee ballot, writ of habeas corpus, bill of attainder, ex post facto, immigrant, and resident.
Awesome. So let's kind of jump on into this. Here, when we talk about citizen, that is just someone that is legally recognized as a member of a nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that comes obligations, things that you are required to do. It's not optional. You also have responsibilities, things that you should do, but you don't have to do. And then, of course, rights that are granted to you because you are a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, let's go over really quick where this was established. This was established in the 14th Amendment. Now, if you guys want to learn a little bit more about that, you can read about that right here, obviously. Okay? Now, there are two ways that you can become a citizen at birth.
Now, I want to say this, though, before you even move on, because two key words have to stand out. You are born or naturalized.
Mm-hmm.
Born or naturalized. That's how you are a citizen. That's how the Constitution defines it.
Very good point.
Okay.
Very good point. All right. Unless you want to interrupt me again.
No, it'll come.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. All right, so the first part, guys, again, like Ms. Hall was talking about, you are born on American soil. That is called law of soil, just like it says right there. So again, any person born on American soil, a territory, or a military base, they're automatically a citizen at birth. The next way is through law of blood. So this is even if you aren't directly born on American soil, but you have parents who are American citizens. You can automatically become a citizen at birth.
Nice. Now, so let's move on to naturalized citizen. Now, that is somebody that's from another country but wants to become a U.S. citizen.
Sure. They're
going to have to meet some qualifications before they can apply. So what you need to do is you basically, some qualifications are you've got to be 18.
Mm-hmm. You
have to be a lawful permanent citizen. So that means you're here in the U.S.
Lawful permanent resident, correct?
Yes. I'm sorry. And you basically have to have permission to be here. Typically, you would have a green card or something. Lived in the U.S. for 5 years, be of good character, and have a working knowledge of English. Now, once you can check off all those boxes, then you go down to the steps that you have to do.
Absolutely.
And your first step is that you're going to actually complete the application. You have a civics test, basically, or people like to say an American history or government test, where you have to actually pass it.
Correct.
And then, of course, you swear your oath of allegiance to the United States of America.
And this application and test that they have to take, is very difficult, too. It really tests people's knowledge. They really have to go through a rigorous process if they want to become a citizen, which makes sense.
And oftentimes people will say that even U.S. citizens may or may not have trouble actually passing the naturalization test.
Now, before we move on, we want to quickly go over where this is located. So again, the process to become a citizen is Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. That's very important for you guys to know. Okay. Now, let's go on to a couple quick things that we see right here under notes. So let's just go over a couple of these key vocab terms. So an alien is just a lawful permanent resident.
It's not the green man with the big eyes.
No. We are referring to an alien. It's just somebody who has permission to live and work here, but they aren't an official citizen yet.
Now, typically, oftentimes when you hear that word alien, you hear it with the word illegal alien. That just means someone that is here, not from this country, and they did not enter the country correctly, or they overstayed their visa.
Correct. So at that point they don't have permission to live and work here anymore. Correct. Exactly right. All right. So the next word we got is green card. Now, this is just a document that basically says a person has permission to live and work here that a lawful permanent resident would use. And it's called a green card because of its color, which is, as you guessed it, green. All right. Next, we have legal alien, which is basically kind of exactly what we already described. It's just somebody who's a lawful permanent resident. And as Ms. Hall already pointed out, an illegal alien is just somebody who is not a lawful permanent resident. Next, we have the word resident, which is just someone who lives in a place for a long time or a long-term period. Right there, as you guys can see. And our last word that we have, guys, is immigrant. And this is just somebody who comes to another country to live permanently. All right. So next, we're going to go over those obligations. And Ms. Hall, I know you're very, very in tune right now, and you really want to go over this. So why don't you take it away for us?
Okay. And of course, I like to look at obligations as, of course, we have to do it. But if you don't do it, there will be some type of consequence, such as obeying the law. If you don't obey the law, like let's say, for instance, you're speeding 90 miles an hour in a speed limit of 30, you may end up going to jail, or you may end up paying a huge fine.
Sure.
Paying taxes. That's not supposed to be an optional thing. And oftentimes, if you don't pay those taxes, you pay some type of fee. Males, actually, at the age of 18, are required to fill out the selective service, or what we call the draft. They're
well, to be eligible for the draft, you're saying,
right,
correct?
To be eligible. Now, the draft has not been activated since the 70s, early 70s. That was the last time we actually used that. But what a draft is let's say, for instance, the military has been depleted, and all of a sudden, you don't have enough people to go and fight a war in some country. That's when they will go ahead and randomly select names out, and those people will be required to join the military.
And of course, the last one that we have is jury summons right there, which jury summons is an extremely important part, or the jury is an extremely important part of our country. It's what gives us the right to be judged by our peers, and not somebody who doesn't live like us, somebody in a different circumstance, in a different state, different area, whatever. That's what jury summons is all about. And basically, a jury summons, if you receive one, you have to come and appear in front of a court and be potentially selected to serve on a jury, which is basically what they use at a criminal trial. Right. You want to expand upon that? I feel like I didn't do as good of a job on that one.
No, I think you did good. But kind of think of it this way, because I've been called for jury duty, but I've never been selected from the pool.
Sure.
So what they'll do is they'll call about 200 people, and they'll ask them questions, and they'll kind of weed out who they want for the specific trial. So that's the big pool. Then the jury is just those 12 people that have been selected.
And part of the reason they do that too, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't been called to serve on a jury yet. But part of the reason they do that is they don't want people who are biased in there. They don't want people who already have a preconceived notion or an idea of whether the person's guilty or innocent based on other beliefs that they might have.
Correct. Let me give an example of that. Let's say, for instance, I'm on trial for kidnapping somebody. Yes, let's say Mr. Halpin. I kidnapped Halpin. My lawyer would most likely not want to pick someone in the jury pool that had their child kidnapped because they would be biased. They would be very upset. Not saying that a normal person that never had that experience wouldn't be upset. However, they've had a personal experience with it. So that's
exactly right.
That would be someone that my lawyer would say, we don't want that person.
Exactly right. All right. So next, we're going to move into the responsibilities of citizenship. Now, these are not things that you are required to do, but they are things that you should do. So if you don't do these things, you're not going to get in trouble. But really, if you want to be a good citizen, these are things you should do. So the first one is just be informed about what's going on in the local, state, and national governments. You should really keep your eye on all of these things. The next thing is you need to vote. If you are not in a town that vote, you can always request something called an absentee ballot, which is just a way to vote early if you're not going to be in town at that time. The next one is you need to get involved in the community. This should be pretty simple, self-explanatory, but things like volunteering, attending local meetings, and serving on committees. Just be involved. The next way is to petition government when needed. So if you see a problem, you can form something called a petition. And basically, that's just going to get people to sign it saying, we also agree that this is a problem. The last one is running for political office. Heck, if you can't figure out a way to get somebody to change the problems that you see, you can go change it yourself.
Or at least attempt.
Or at least attempt to change it. Exactly right.
Okay, now there's the last couple of things we're going to touch on is that you have some rights of citizenship. And one of those is writ of habeas corpus. Now, what this basically is, and again, at the top it says individual rights are guaranteed. True, but there are times when some of these can, well, the writ of habeas corpus, they can actually deny you for that. But this is a court order to bring the person that's behind bars, that's in jail, before the court. And this could happen before trial or even after trial. And then what they're going to do is they're going to look to ensure and make sure that there is indeed enough evidence to keep that person behind bars. If not, that person goes free.
The next one we got is no bills of attainder. So this is basically just saying you can't be punished and punish an individual without a trial. They have to have a trial. You can't just say a person's guilty. We're gonna arrest you. You're guilty. We're gonna throw you in jail. That's not how it works. You have to go before a court and you have to say, hey, if I'm not guilty, I'm going to say it right there, and then you get to plead your case.
Exactly. And the last one is no ex post facto. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, let's say tomorrow starts a new law. A new law goes into effect, and that nobody can wear purple. It's illegal. Well, if I wore purple yesterday, tomorrow they can't come after me because they're claiming that I'm violating the law. They can't. That wasn't a law at the time, therefore they can't do that.
Exactly right. So if a law is created after the fact, they can't punish people who did it before it was created. Exactly right. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you later.